Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, for holding this hearing. Thank you for being here, Dr. Berner. So the OFR obviously plays a very important part in our regulatory system. In essence, your job is to look at the data and the gaps in the data and identify possible sources of risk in the financial system. No politics, just an independent analysis of what's going on. I think it's a really important role. And that's exactly what OFR did in its recent report on asset managers. You reviewed the available data, you identified serious gaps in the data, and you raised some issues that prompted a robust and healthy debate about the role that asset managers play in the financial system. So I want to say thank you, Dr. Berner, for the work you and your staff put into that report. I think that's very important. So what I want to focus on, though, is the importance of collecting the necessary data, because you identify data gaps in this report. So I imagine that the agencies that oversee the financial system, the SEC, the OCC, the Fed, the FDIC, have all sorts of data that the OFR would find helpful in its research. And yet, as I read Dodd-Frank, those agencies are not required to share the data with OFR. So what I want to ask about is whether OFR has been able to obtain all of the data it needs from these agencies.
Thanks for your question. The answer to your question is so far, yes. But I want to emphasize the fact that the engagement with our colleagues elsewhere in the Council is one that requires some thought and some care, and that's because many of the data sets that we look at, that they collect, are non-public data, and they have confidential information in them. As a consequence, they want to be assured that the data that they share with us are kept as secure as they would keep them. And so we've worked out a process to exactly do that, a variety of processes to make sure there's an agreement, a memorandum of understanding between us for each characteristic of each particular data set. And sometimes that takes time to work out. The more specific we can be in our request, the more finally we can tailor those agreements to reflect the nature of the data. We're working hard on data sharing, which is something that we think is necessary for the Council, not just for us, to do its job. We've made several proposals on how to make that easier. The Council of Inspectors General for Financial Oversight has made several proposals on that, and we are working hard in the context of the Council to make sure that the Council embraces and adopts those proposals so that we can better share data on one hand while keep them confidential on another. But we've obtained data in several different areas, and we're using those very detailed, non-public data to analyze interconnectedness and risks and the transmission of risks across the financial system.
Well, good, because I think it is very important that all of the agencies be sharing data with you. I'm glad you're working on the MOUs to make that possible. And I hope there are no difficulties in data sharing as we go forward, because without good data, you can't give good independent advice. So let us know if there are problems there. But I want to ask you one other data question in this, and that is about your ability to obtain data from financial companies. I know that you have subpoena power to require companies to produce data under certain limited circumstances, but from what I understand, you have never used that power. Is that right?
That's true, and we actually have never asked a financial company in the United States to turn over data to us because there are many data that are available already. As you indicated, they are collected by other agencies, they're publicly available or available in some other form. And so our philosophy for filling data gaps has 3 steps. First is to prioritize and identify the questions we want to answer. Second, to take stock of the data we have, and we just published a very recent data inventory on our website to do exactly that. And then matching those 2 things enables us to sort of look at where the gaps in data are and to prioritize them. Now, there's still lots of gaps in data, as you and I agree, and what we need to do is, to work very carefully to think about asking the companies for exactly what we need, to make sure, just as we do with other regulators, that those data would be kept secure if they're non-public data and confidential, to assure the companies that their data will not be in jeopardy, their data will not be compromised. And that's particularly important in today's environment where we're all concerned and trying to take steps to assure that threats, cybersecurity threats, don't destabilize our financial system.
Well, I very much appreciate that you are cautious in your data requests, both from other agencies and from financial institutions. But at the same time, I hope you're vigorously pursuing everything that you need and that you have all of the tools you need to get those data, because without good data, you will not be able to make good recommendations. I know you know that, and I just want to offer my support for your ability to get the information that you need to help advise us all about the risks we face in the financial system.
Thanks, Senator. If I need any help, I'll be sure to let you know.
Good.